Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie and welcome to Antiquity Academy. Today we're going to be talking about the Spanish conquest of the Yucatán Peninsula from 1517 to 1546 and, the continuing genocide of the Central American region. The Yucatán Peninsula, which includes southeastern Mexico, northern Guatemala, and Belize, is bordered by the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. For thousands of years before the greedy Europeans showed up, the peninsula was home to the Maya. The first Mayan cities were built in the Petén Basin during the Middle Preclassic period, which lasted from 600 to 350 BCE. Prior to the Spanish invasion, the Mayan people were no strangers to disaster. They experienced what is known as the classic Mayan collapse in the 10th century, where their largest cities were abandoned after years of decline. The cause of the collapse is still unknown, making it one of the greatest archaeological mysteries. However, there are many theories, including disease, natural disaster, and foreign invasion. The Yucatán Peninsula was divided into multiple independent Mayan provinces known as, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, but Akucabal. It was also politically fragmented, which aided and hindered the Spanish invasion. With the political divide, there was no central power for the Spanish to overthrow. However, the conquistadors took advantage of the pre-existing rivalries between provinces. Kind of like high school. You don't like them? Cool, help me take over their territory. Before the conquest of the Yucatán Peninsula officially began, there were the first couple encounters between the Spanish and the Mayans. On his fourth expedition in 1502, Columbus arrived at Guanaja. While exploring the island, his brother Bartholomew spotted a canoe full of Mayans approaching the island. The canoe was seized and boarded, where the Spanish found ceramics, cotton, yellowstone, cocoa, weapons, and women and children to be sold as slaves. This was the first recorded contact between the Spanish and the Mayans. Then, in 1511, the Spanish caravel Santa Maria de la Barca wrecked off the coast of Jamaica. The 20 survivors, including the ship's captain, Geronimo de Aguilar, and Gonzalo Guerrero, floated adrift in a lifeboat for 13 days, during which half the survivors died. When they finally reached the Yucatán Peninsula, they were captured. The captain was sacrificed, and Aguilar and Guerrero were kept as slaves. Guerrero was passed on to another lord who he served so devotedly that he was married to the lord's daughter and received the rank of Nacom, or war leader. The conquest began in 1517 with Francisco Hernández de Córdoba, who discovered the Yucatán Peninsula after sailing to Cuba to kidnap and enslave more natives. Due to shallow waters, he could not dock close to shore, but a Mayan city could be seen from the coast, which was named Grand Cairo because of its pyramids. The following day, Mayan canoes arrived to bring the men ashore, where they were ambushed, but they managed to repulse the attack and ransack temples for gold before returning to the ship. Low on fresh water, Córdoba and his men sailed along the coast for 15 days before docking at Campeche. There, they were invited into another city and led to an altar, where a pile of reeds was placed before them and set on fire. The Mayan lord told them they had until the reeds burned out to leave the island, or they would be killed. So they hightailed it out of there and sailed for 6 more days before docking at Champotan, where they were attacked yet again and lost half their numbers. The men managed to sail to Florida and gather supplies before they all died. Córdoba had previously captured 2 Mayans who were interrogated and swore to the presence of gold on the peninsula. This information was shared with Governor Diego Velázquez and led to the official start of the conquest of the Yucatán Peninsula. For the next 17 years, from 1518 to 1535, many more voyages were made to the peninsula to conquer more land and find more gold, the first being Velázquez's nephew, Juan de Grijalva. Grijalva was sent not only to find more gold, but to protect the governor's claim over the land. Heavily armed, he and his men conquered Cozumel and Campeche and received word of the gold-rich Aztec Empire. Hernán Cortés followed in 1519, arriving in Cozumel where he destroyed temples and erected Christian crosses in their places because, forced conversion. He managed to save Geronimo de Aguilar, the captured survivor that I mentioned before, and conquer Potonchan before continuing on to kill the Aztecs. Then, in 1527, Francisco de Montejo was given the right to colonize the conquered Yucatan territories. In 1540, he passed on his right to colonize to his son, who spent the next 6 years building settlements. With the northern Yucatán Peninsula conquered, the remaining Mayan people fled to the Petén Basin. I decided to rename the list of terrible things because I felt it didn't capture the essence of the atrocities that I was telling you about, so without further ado, I give you this week's censored truth. Number 1, as always, slavery. Number 2, the Spanish spread more disease, killing 75 to 90% of the native population. Number 3, in 1544, the first of many missionary groups arrived to direct the forced religious conversion of the natives. Number 4. In 1546, 7 Mayan provinces coordinated a revolt and attacked the Spanish towns. In order to quell the rebellion, the Spanish turned to murder, mutilation, and torture. Don't forget to subscribe, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Thanks for watching.